They said they were hosting a small gathering. At 2 a.m., drunk strangers were puking on my lawn and leaning on my car. I called to complain. He yelled, "Buy earplugs." The next day, my car's windshield was shattered, and I found a beer bottle with their address label still on it. I live in a quiet neighborhood in a small town outside of Denver. Nothing fancy, just a modest street where most of us keep to ourselves but nod hello when we pass. People walk their dogs, mow their lawns, and usually respect each other's space. That's why what happened still pisses me off. It started on a Friday night last summer. I was dead tired. I work long shifts at a warehouse, and I'd been looking forward to just crashing in bed early, maybe watching a little TV, and catching up on sleep. Around 8 p.m., I noticed a few cars pulling into my neighbor's driveway. I didn't think much of it. The couple next door, let's call them Brad and Megan, had just moved in about a month earlier. They seemed okay. A little loud sometimes, but nothing crazy. At around 10 p.m., I started to get annoyed. The music got louder. The kind of bass you feel in your chest. People were shouting in the backyard. Not talking, shouting. I figured it'd die down by midnight. It didn't. By 2 a.m., it was out of control. There were drunk people walking up and down the street, one guy stumbling through my front yard like it was his own personal shortcut. I looked outside and saw two girls sitting on the hood of my car like it was a bench. One of them had a red Solo cup. The other? She leaned over and threw up right next to my mailbox. I lost it. I put on my shoes, walked outside, and asked them, firm but polite, to get off my car and take their party back to Brad and Megan's place. They just laughed and wandered off toward the house, like I was the crazy one. I went back inside and called Brad. He picked up on the second ring. I said, "Hey man, can you keep it down? People are drunk in my yard and leaning on my car." He actually laughed and said, "It's a party, dude. Buy earplugs," and then hung up. That was the moment I realized we weren't going to be good neighbors. The next morning I came outside and saw it right away. My car, my 2015 Toyota Corolla I'd saved up for, had a shattered windshield. The glass was all over the dashboard. There was a dent in the hood, too. I looked around in disbelief. That's when I saw the bottle. A brown glass beer bottle lying in the grass by my front steps. I picked it up and I shit you not, it had a shipping label still on it. Some kind of bulk beer delivery Brad must have ordered for the party. The label had his name and address, right there, clear as day. I stood there staring at it like it was a joke. But it wasn't. This guy's party had gone so out of control that someone had either dropped or thrown a bottle hard enough to smash my windshield and left a breadcrumb trail right back to their front door. I called the police. They sent someone out and I filed a report. I gave them the bottle, the photos I took, and the time of the call I'd made to Brad. The officer was sympathetic but said without video or a witness, it'd be hard to prove he did it or even who threw the bottle. He said it'd help if others complained. So I started knocking on doors. Turns out, I wasn't the only one pissed off. 3 other neighbors had called in noise complaints that night. One of them, Mrs. Alvarez across the street, said someone had tried to use her side gate to pee in her backyard. Another neighbor had tire tracks across their front lawn. We decided to go in on it together. I started keeping a log every time there was noise from Brad and Megan's place. Dates, times, how loud it got, what happened. I bought a cheap outdoor camera and aimed it toward my driveway and the part of the street in front of their house. Another neighbor had one too, and we coordinated footage. Meanwhile, Brad got smug. Like, cartoon-level smug. He'd wave at me every time he saw me in my yard, but not a friendly wave, more like a "what are you gonna do about it" kind of wave. Once, he walked past while I was scraping puke out of my lawn and said, "Rough night, huh?" with a smile. That's when I decided I wasn't just going to complain. I was going to collect enough proof to get him kicked out. I didn't care how long it took. A couple weeks went by. They kept throwing parties, maybe smaller ones, but still loud enough to keep people up. One Saturday, there was some yelling outside around midnight. I checked the camera footage the next morning and saw 2 guys arguing in the middle of the street. One of them shoved the other, and they almost stumbled into my mailbox. Brad came out, shirtless, holding a case of beer. acting like it was hilarious. I gave a copy of the footage to the HOA president, Mrs. Kramer. She's strict and takes things seriously. She'd already gotten complaints from other neighbors, and when I showed her the video and mentioned the windshield, she said, "This is getting out of hand." A few days later, Brad got his first warning letter from the HOA. I know because he waved it at me from his porch, laughing. "Nice try, snitch," he yelled. The next night, someone let the air out of 2 of my tires. I was pretty sure it was him or one of his drunk friends, but I couldn't prove it. No camera angle showed who did it. But that was it for me. I bought 2 more outdoor cameras and put one on each side of my house. I started saving every single clip that even hinted at noise, public drunkenness, or people trespassing. I also started a neighborhood group chat with the other people who were fed up. We called it Peace and Quiet. Then something happened that made it personal in a different way. My niece, who's 9, came over one weekend to stay with me. Her parents were out of town. That Saturday, we played board games, ordered pizza, and she went to bed around 9:30. At 1 a.m., she came running into my room crying. She said she heard people screaming and a woman laughing right outside her window. I got up and checked the front. A group of people were standing in the street in front of my house, drinking, smoking, yelling. I didn't even call Brad. I called the cops. This time, they showed up fast. 2 squad cars. The officers told everyone to go inside. One guy got mouthy and almost got himself arrested. Brad came out trying to play it off like nothing happened. But this time, the cops weren't buying it. They handed him a citation for disturbing the peace. A week later, the HOA sent another letter. This one was a fine. I found it crumpled up and tossed near my sidewalk. Real mature. Things got quiet for about 10 days. I thought maybe he'd finally gotten the message. Then came the night of what he called revenge bash on the party invite. I only found out because someone posted it on Instagram and tagged our street and the location. The caption was, "Let's see if the snitches can sleep through this." And I knew he was about to do something stupid. Again. The revenge bash started around 9 p.m. on a Friday. Music thumping, drunk voices yelling over one another. It wasn't just their house this time. It had spilled into the street, the sidewalk, even someone's front yard 2 doors down. I wasn't surprised. I was ready. I had already set all 3 cameras to record continuously. I charged my phone. I made sure my niece wasn't visiting. I called the non-emergency police line around 10 p.m. to let them know what was starting. The operator told me they'd send someone by if things escalated. By midnight, it did. Someone pulled up in a lifted truck, blasting music through their own speakers. That guy parked halfway onto my lawn. I took pictures and video. A girl tripped and fell onto my porch steps. 2 guys tried to help her up, but they were so drunk they almost dropped her again. I stayed inside. No yelling this time. No warnings. Then, around 1:30 a.m., I heard a loud crash outside. It didn't sound like glass. It sounded like wood. I ran to the front window. My mailbox had been ripped out of the ground. It was lying in the middle of the road. 2 drunk guys were laughing, one of them kicking it like a football. That was it. I called 911. This time, they sent 3 squad cars. The street lit up with red and blue. Cops started rounding people up, asking for IDs. One guy tried to run. Didn't get far. Another officer was writing citations as fast as he could pull his pen out. And Brad? Brad came out acting like the victim. "I didn't know they were going to get this wild," he said. An officer pointed to the mailbox in the street and said, "Is this yours?" Brad shrugged. "Not mine." I stepped outside at that point and told the officer, "It's mine. I have it on video. Those 2 broke it." I handed over the footage on a flash drive. The officer looked at Brad and said, "You're going to need to come with us." That moment felt good, but it didn't last. The next day, Megan, his girlfriend, came to my door. She looked tired, like she hadn't slept. "I don't want to fight," she said. "But you need to know, Brad said he's not done." I asked, "What does that mean?" She hesitated. "He said if he gets evicted, he's taking someone down with him." Then she left. Now, I'm not a paranoid guy. But something about the way she said it felt serious. Like it wasn't just drunken talk. I started double-checking my locks. Parked my car in a friend's garage for a few days. And every night, I'd watch the cameras, just waiting. That's when I noticed something weird. A black sedan kept parking across the street from my house. Different times, different days, always just sitting there. Sometimes, with the engine running. No one ever got out. It didn't belong to anyone on our street. I asked a few neighbors, but no one recognized it. One night, I walked outside with my phone pretending to take pictures of the sky. I casually aimed it toward the sedan and zoomed in. Brad was in the passenger seat. I stood there for a second, holding my phone up, pretending I was still messing with the camera, but my heart was pounding. Brad didn't even try to hide. He looked right at me through the windshield.
No es Mirk. No wait.
Just stared. Then the car pulled off, slow and quiet. The next morning, I checked the footage from the night before. The car had parked there for nearly 40 minutes. No one got out. They didn't do anything. Just watched. I went to the police station and told them everything about the mailbox, the threat from Megan, the car, the look on Brad's face. I even gave them the plate number. The officer said they'd make a note, but without a crime being committed, there wasn't much they could do. So I took matters into my own hands. I printed out screenshots of Brad sitting in the sedan. I put one in every neighbor's mailbox with a note that said, "This man has been parking on our street, watching homes. Stay alert." Security cameras recommended. A few of them thanked me. A couple were spooked. One guy, Danny, from 2 houses down, called me and said, "You know he's gonna come for you now, right?" I said, "Let him try." That weekend, I stayed at my brother's place and left all the cameras running. I wanted to see if anything happened while I was gone. Sunday night, I came back. Nothing broken. Nothing moved. But the cameras caught something. At 2:17 a.m. on Saturday, someone walked up my driveway. Black hoodie, jeans, couldn't see the face. They crouched near my back window, then walked away. Didn't touch anything. Just looked straight into the lens for 3 seconds. Then gone. They wanted me to know they were there. I showed it to the police. Again, they said it wasn't enough. No crime. I started feeling like I was losing it. Every sound outside made me jump. Every shadow looked like him. I barely slept. Then one night, around 3 a.m., my power cut out. Everything went dark. The whole block still had lights. I checked.
It was just me.
I grabbed my flashlight, heart beating so loud I couldn't think straight, and checked the breaker box. Someone had flipped the main switch. Outside, on the side of the house, there was a fresh boot print in the dirt right below it. I knew exactly who it was. And this time, I had something real. I called the cops again. They finally agreed to take fingerprints from the panel. They also told me someone had been arrested the week before. One of Brad's friends, for smashing a mailbox in another neighborhood. I gave them everything I had again. Video. Photos. The boot print. The threats. Then I made one more move. I contacted the leasing company Brad was renting from. I sent them a file with all the evidence. Video of drunk people, broken property, the police reports, even the letter Megan wrote apologizing for Brad's behavior months back. I told them I was planning to sue if they didn't act. The woman on the phone didn't say much, but she sounded serious. She said, "We'll review it. Thank you." A week later, I saw a moving truck in front of Brad's house. They were gone by the end of the weekend.
No budie. No e paledi.
Just silence where the chaos used to be. People said I should feel relieved, maybe even proud. But all I felt was tired. I still check the cameras every night, still pause when I hear footsteps outside. It's like part of me's waiting for the noise, the damage, or just someone to do it all over again. Sometimes I wonder if peace is even possible, or if we just learn how to live with the tension. I still keep the broken mailbox in my garage, just in case I ever need to prove to myself that I wasn't overreacting.